I'm not gonna make the same mistake again. Listen, last time Porter Robinson came out with an album, I missed it, okay? I have a busy life. I don't know what's going on in new music despite the fact I have this channel. Full-time job, 3 soon to be 4 kids, and I just missed it. And I ended up catching up with that album after the year was over, and there's that kind of dead period in the winter where no new music comes out. And I listened to Nurture, and I was just like, damn, this is so good. I should have listened to my auditors. The last video I did was on More Mother with the deluxe edition. So that was an album I almost missed this year, but I'm not going to fall for it this time, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Porter, Mr. Two last names as first names and last names. I'm going to review it in under a week. The album is called Smile, and parentheses. I don't know if it's called that with the emoji just to be cute, just to be now, or if it's maybe a subtle reference to the album Smile by the Beach Boys, which if you're a hipster, you will say is their best album. Realistically, it's the most interesting album in the way that it plays with Pet Sounds, which came before it, way before it, depending on what you consider this album to be. So I don't know if this is maybe a cute little reference of thinking of this album as being a continuation and slight alteration on Nurture. I don't think it is. I need to get to my beginning here. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by French Professor. And the weirdest comparison I'm going to make is not actually with the Beach Boys, because that's just kind of a fun name. Now that I've drawn you in, now that I've hooked you with my absolutely high energy nonsense, let me tell you who Porter Robinson really reminds me the most of. I don't know if Porter Robinson has ever heard this musician ever. But I'm talking about Matthew Sweet. If you don't know Matthew Sweet, he's a 90s musician. He's not in the pantheon of super remembered 90s musicians. You know, he's not up there with your Nirvanas and your Alices and Chainses and all of them. But he was a really interesting guy because he was sort of a man out of time. He had sort of a unironic streak to him. He was just really great with guitar. And in particular, what I want you to do is listen to the album 100% Fun. Now, obviously, the title, Smile, and parentheses, you know, smile emoji, and 100% fun, that's kind of tied in there. The album cover for Matthew Sweet is a little kid listening to records in the 70s, so it's very clearly a nostalgia thing here. This album is very nostalgic. Even the cover, I feel, is very nostalgic for Porter Robinson's childhood, sort of surrounded by what I assume is like Japanese happy animation, kawaii style stuff. And there's just, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, okay? Maybe I'm crazy and this is a totally out there comparison, but listen to the song, the first track off of 100% Fun, Sick of Myself. And tell me if you don't feel what I'm saying. It's funny because when Matthew Sweet came out, he came out way before, but when I first heard him, it was with this album. And he was 31 years old. I remember thinking that he was just too old for me to listen to. And Porter Robinson's actually 32, although this music plays much younger. And there's just something about the way that Matthew Sweet sings about a kind of self-loathing that is also self-love, self-care. It's like if you describe your self-loathing accurately enough, then it can become a form of self-care. But I'm sick of myself when I look at you. Something is beautiful and true in a world that's ugly and a lie. It's hard to even want to try. And I'm beginning to think, baby, you don't know. Awesome stuff, right? Just pure, awesome, perfect, earnest pop rock. Earnest, but not like Joe Pera earnest. Like there's an earnestness that also has a little bit of irony in it as well. And I don't know. Just to me, that's my gift to you that I don't think any other music reviewer is going to give you. If they are, please tell me, and I will buy he, she, or they pineapple juice at the next music YouTuber convention. I still haven't been invited to a YouTube convention yet. It's okay. I'll be invited eventually. Hang out with all the weirdos. Be one of the weirdos. So, I don't know. I really think that the Matthew Sweet, Porter Robinson connection is just so clear in my head. And it actually makes me retroactively like Matthew Sweet even more. But what is this album about? Is it about fun? Is it about a kawaii smile? Is it about an emoji? Sort of. What I feel like this album is, and what makes it so interesting, is that it's kind of it's like an ego journey. It's somebody who's really trying to process their relationship to their own sense of self. And how do they mediate that sense of self? Through fame, through parasocial relationships, through being loved by people who they don't know. The conclusion is not as ambiguous. I'm sorry, I'm like going like full Leisure Suit Larry over here, button myself up. It's been hot. It's been hot. It's like his relationship towards parasocial relationships is fairly positive, and I think that makes this a pretty interesting album. And in general, it is a great piece of, hey, just keep doing it. Hey, just keep fighting. It's about the importance of life. It's about the importance of living. I think it fits well, both sonically and spiritually, with the younger artist Quatica's recent output. I think it reminds me a lot more, like, it doesn't really remind me of like EDM stuff I've heard, but it reminds me a lot of the kind of new style, like almost hyper pop music that I review a lot of. And it's about the value of life. And I think that's why it's called Smile, because smile, you know? I'm not going to get political, but of all the things that Trump has done, the fact that he's attacking the person across from him, Kamala, for laughing a lot, makes me so angry. Not just because it's a sexist dog whistle, which it is, but that, like, never trust anybody who tells you that you have a bad laugh or that you have an ugly smile. Never, if anybody. If you have a parent who ever talked bad about your smile, about your laugh, that parent abused you when they said that, okay? I'm sorry. That's a hard thing to hear, that your parent abused you, but they did. You should always smile and laugh as goofily as you possibly can. Always, at all times. I feel it. I feel it. Frankly, I feel it with Smile, even though the album is made by a very, very upset, very troubled man who barely got out of his room. Amazing story behind that album. But this is like about the value of life, of his life, of your life, and about the space in between our life and his life. But let me give you an example with my favorite track on the album. It is a pop album. It is very pop. It is not like, I guess I could sort of say like, well, it's a genre mix with EDM and bedroom. No, can we just call it pop? Listen, I know it's Brat Summer, but it could also kind of be Smile Summer. I mean, this is a good enough album with a consistent enough theme and enough great hooks that maybe we can have a Smile Summer too. I don't think, yeah. Anyway, I'll click above the Lincoln Center poster there to hear the song Russian Roulette. Diddy Mao. Opens up with just, when I like this album the most is when it has a literal hook. So you know when you're fishing, I've only fished like once, it was miserable. I never understood, because like then you have to kill the thing. It's like, what's the point? But the point of a fish hook is you don't catch the fish, and then once you have it, you put a hook in its mouth. And you use the hook to actually, Aziz Ansari, to actually capture the thing. So what I like, my favorite songs on this album are songs with hooks that start right off. Just right in, just takes you right in. But then it's so well produced. Then that lead line goes away with this awesome drum machine sound. Again, a little ratty. And then during the singing, it's just this very subtle bass and snare drum machine beat with this far away. The acoustic guitar is behind that door. And just really far away vocals. And then the chorus, so often, it's so blaring. And you're like, why? Why? Why, Mr. Robinson, in this neighborhood? Why are you making this so loud and blaring in the chorus? I better hope there's a payoff. I better hope there's an answer to this question. The chorus itself ties into the concept of Russian Roulette. Does Russian Roulette scare you as much as it scares me? I've never really been scared of shooting myself because I've never had a gun. But if I ever had a gun, which I never would, I think like the temptation to do that must be great. Like, I wonder how many suicides have been people doing that instead. It's very unsettling. It's a very unsettling image. I close my eyes, gamble with my life. So we're actually picturing this, right? Am I going to get demonetized? I'll do it like that. Okay? Like, I don't know what YouTube watches. Close my eyes, gamble with my life, trying not to smile. Like, try not, like, because that's like, I imagine, I don't know. Maybe this time I won't be all right, maybe this time. And so we have this really dark idea, this really dark image of like, maybe this time the click will go click bang and won't just go click. There's a 1 out of 6 chance, which if I get my math correct, 18%? Tell me in the comments. And then right back to the banger hook. Listen, I listen to music very often in the car, very often sitting on my bed over there with Genius in front of it, looking at the lyrics. But a couple of times I listened to this album on the elliptical, and there are some albums which drag me down. I love the More Mother album, but I gotta tell you, my heart rate did not go over 100 for that whole album because it's a very slow meditation on the nature of capitalism and slavery, which is great, but that's not great for the elliptical. Usually if I have like a general, standard kind of rock, indie album, rap album, I'll be at like 110. This whole album had me 120, 123, 125 because and it's just great. It's this play back and forth between all these different sounds, this like really deep and sweet verse and this really blaring and nasty chorus. And this beautiful little interlude at 1 minute. And then it goes in this whole thing about Pitchfork. And I had to look this up on Genius. Apparently, they gave a review of an album by Jet and gave it a 0 out of 10. And instead of writing anything up, showed a video of a monkey urinating into its own mouth. I don't do negative reviews. I might point out negative things about certain artists if those artists have enough power and have enough like eyes on them and ears on them that I don't feel that my voice is anything other than perhaps a check on that adoration, okay? Certainly not an artist of the stature of Jet, I mean, I might say something bad about, if Jet came out with an album and I thought it was terrible, I definitely wouldn't talk about it, and I definitely wouldn't do that. Anyways, that's part of the reason why I'm always positive, except sometimes when I talk about Drake and Bob Dylan. And this line, put the gun against the thing that's stopping me. And that's the truth, right? Like, what stops you from killing yourself is your brain. I got bad news for you, though. What puts you in that position, it's your brain as well. There's a reason why human beings are the only living beings that know they're going to die, and that they're the only living beings who intentionally extinguish their own life from time to time. Feel free to tell me in the comments how that's wrong. Tell me, like, I don't know, Brazilian lemurs commit suicide. You can tell me, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. In the second chorus, this loud chorus, there's this one little unsettling moment. I don't know. I've never met Porter Robinson. I wouldn't know who he was if I was on the street, okay? If I could be in an elevator with him and I wouldn't know who he is. But what I'd like to do is ask about the cutout in the chorus. There's a cutout in the chorus where it just goes like this. To me, that's unsettling. To me, that's the sound of the or of the click. Hopefully the click, but that's to me the pull of the trigger. And then we get to the bridge. My friend lost his head, and what did I do about it? And we could laugh about the thoughts I've been having. The way out is through, right? The way out of suicidal thoughts. Damn it, I got demonetized. So smash the like bucket, subscribe, share my stuff. If you like a video of mine, share it with somebody because there's, there's a lot of music reviewers, but I think a lot of the stuff I do is kind of cool. I think it's a little different, so you can just share me around. Just one of my videos, not this one necessarily. I don't know. But anyways, like the way out is through, and especially the best way out if you're feeling totally depressed, is to connect to people who you love and care about and who care about you. The thing is, you have to be truthful. That's the problem. See, people connect with people that they love and care about, but they just shoot some bullshit. So it's like, hey, I feel absolutely miserable. I don't think I want to live anymore. I can't possibly understand what's going on. And then you knock on the door and you ask your friend, hey, you want to play CSGO? Sweet, let's go. Oh, man. Have you heard the new Chief Keef album? Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. I'm pretty surprised. Oh, yeah, it's awesome, right? And then you go back home, right? You don't knock on the door and say, hey, do you want to play CSGO? But first, let's have, like, some tea so I can tell you about these feelings I've been having of just insane loneliness. And I think maybe my connection to people around me is loosening, and I feel like I'm losing you as a friend, but I don't know how to tell you that, right? That's the I'd like to say it's modern loneliness, but it's just loneliness. And then we answer my question from before. Remember when I asked Mr. Robinson, hey, how come the chorus is so unpleasant and so jarring? It's because we need this version. The third version of the chorus is just a gospel organ and his singing. And it's the way he's singing, he is embellishing the way that he's singing this. And these lyrics about all the things he wants to do instead of dying. I want to play in the snow one more time, lose my phone one more time, kiss my cat one more time, thank my dad one more time. I cried. I cried. Of course I cried. You think I'm not sitting there at the YMCA watching the Truman Show on mute with my heartbeat at 123 beats per minute, listening to this song and hearing about thanking my dad and thinking how I want to thank my dad who died a year and a half ago, and thinking about the fact that I'm going to die and at some point my kids are going to wish they could thank me again, and then me wanting them to understand that they don't need to thank me, they just need to lead a life of meaning. Yeah, that all happened to me right there. You know, that's... And meanwhile, all the time, this is what great art can do, okay? It can get you to question your own mortality. It can reaffirm your need to live this, and it can make you dance all at the same time. You're not going to get me, Porter Robinson. I'm not waiting until January this time. And then it comes back, and it's like the full... Listen, I've had a theory for quite some time. The Dance Dance Revolution is having some of the most important impact on music these days. And I have some theories. You know, I had this whole theory I've had a theory for a while, for like a decade, that Taylor Swift is as important as the Beatles because she's getting all of these girls to learn how to play guitar and write songs, and then they're going to grow up, and while the girls are doing that and becoming women who become artists, the boys, unfortunately, are often being sucked up by video games and not learning how to play music. They're learning how to play video games, and there's going to end up being at some point, like either now or in the next 10 years, like a great divide between singer-songwriters where it'll just be like 90% women. That was just a theory that I've had. I don't know. But it makes sense that so much music that's made by, you know, people who were assigned male at birth and were socialized as males growing up, and therefore had more video games tailored towards them, and that they were more expected, more socially acceptable to play a lot of video games, that Dance Dance Revolution would become such an important soundscape. And the funny thing is, I was positive of this, 100% positive of it, and then I read on Lyric Genius that Porter Robinson said that he started making music because of Dance Dance Revolution. And it's edifying. It's edifying to be right. True story. My nephews. I love Dance Dance Revolution, by the way. I'm not very good at it, but I love it. I get too into it and I stomp. You know, you're supposed to play like kind of gentle. I'm like Godzilla. I'm just... Bom, 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 bom. I go too hard. But I really enjoy the game. And I remember my nephews, I was like, hey, do you like Dance Dance Revolution? Like, we hate it, Unky Skye. I was like, why is that? Because they make us play it at school. Because in West Virginia, it was like a thing where instead of gym, you played Dance Dance Revolution. And it goes to prove, school can ruin anything. Anyways, just this whole like cut up voice. And the thing is about Dance Dance Revolution and about Guitar Hero and all those things, is that those little voices that tell you like, you're doing great, awesome, super great, like, that feeling, I have to imagine that's part of the appeal of the game, is that it's somebody telling you that you're great. that you're doing wonderful. It's people clapping for you. Now, of course, it can go deeply the other way. And you can be like me whenever I accidentally like click one of those songs, it's too much. And it's like, oh, boo, hey, learn how to dance, you know? But that kind of like back and forth, and you actually hear like this kind of sound. It sounds like it's actually the voice from there. And I think that he's singing in here. It reminds me of the pop punk cadence of that song, all the small things. You went to school, had a fast car. I don't know what the song is, but it reminds me of that song. And there's even the boos and yas in the end with a guest appearance from a singer who sang on Radiohead, OK Computer. It is the Apple Talk voice, made famous from Fitter, Happier. But here it is the thesis, I believe, of this, where it's a meta-commentary on the song itself. The kick, drum, and bass suggest the song is coming to a close. Boo! And it's the boo from Dance Dance Revolution. That's the format we are used to. Cliches like this are beautiful because they reflect us and we are beautiful. Yay! I'm not going to cry right now, but I could because that's a beautiful sentiment. Being on behalf of cliches, being on behalf of earnestness. Take, for example, this chord progression. If you don't know, Finnerty, it's 1-5-6-4. A chord progression so hated by music snobs that like they make shirts, okay? They make entire videos. They make entire YouTube channels, which I watch, and when I watch them, it changes the way I talk on this channel. You can tell when I've been watching Pat Finnerty because I start talking like him because, anyways, I messaged him. Crickets. Doesn't matter. 1-5-6-4, absolutely the most cliched possible chords, but that's what he uses. And why? It's only become taboo because it was too powerful. That's why you won't forget it. In praise of tastelessness, in praise of the taboo of the 1-6-5-4, just be real with your friends. And it closes with the words, don't kill yourself, you idiot. You know, I talk a lot about my dad on this channel, and the video that affected him the most was my Quadica video, and he said that he was so moved by that album, an 83-year-old man, like he was so moved by that, 82, so moved by that album because he felt that there are just not enough songs by young people about the importance of not killing yourself. And I agree with him, and this is it. And in case you ever have those moments, and a lot of my audience is younger than me, just hold on. Like, seriously, it's like, it gets better. When you're in your 40s, it just gets better, okay? The main thing is don't buy in to the propaganda of YOLO and FOMO, okay? Just stay away from those two things, okay? YOLO is designed to put you in debt and to help build up some kind of substance abuse issue, okay? And FOMO is the same thing. Just all these companies are trying to make you think that your youth is something special so they can pry money away from you. Protect your brain, develop skills, go to therapy, learn how to interact with people on a real level. And by the time you're like 44, yeah, maybe you've been divorced once. I've been divorced once. Maybe you've been through some things, but life gets better. Don't kill yourself, you idiot. I love it. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of the album a little bit quicker. I did not think I'd be talking about this in such depth. Knock Yourself Out. XD. Kind of pop star blues. I like this. It reminds me a fair amount of Patricia Taxon. Sometimes I get emails like, am I going to ever review her music again? Because I've done a lot of Patricia Taxon reviews in the early days. Because back in the old days, I could not get any views, but if I did a Patricia Taxon video, I could get at least 50 views, which at that point was the most views I would get. So I feel a little bit bad that I haven't covered more of her music. I did offer to actually produce her music, to like make a vinyl, but she was like nervous about how to master it. Anyways, it's still out there. I'll still do it. Offers open. But anyways, just the kind of the moment sound of pop, the kind of video game melody paired with the drum machine and a guitar. I really like how the drums on this, the the hi-hat goes hard on the one. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the one. I really like that. Throw my phone into the sea. There's some conversation with technology in here. This beautiful lyric about I'm Taylor Swift, you know, like how everyone thinks that famous people are Taylor Swift, but in reality, he's just, oh, Jesus Christ. I did not check pronouns. I didn't see any theys or she's. I've only seen he's with Porter Robinson. If I am wrong, I'll just erase this whole damn video. Damn it. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Anyways. Sorry, you know, it's part of this job that this hobby that sometimes you just forget to check on these things. Anyways, Taylor Swift. Everyone thinks that you're Taylor Swift when the reality is he's just crying in the airport. And then he sees somebody who asks for a selfie and says that, you know, how important the music is, and that's a reason not to quit. So much this album is a reason not to quit. Very cool, like jungle drums that leads up to a bridge, which, listen, if this bridge is not an intentional imitation of a Taylor Swift bridge, I don't know what it is. Why did I say that so dramatically? If this is, I could have just said, hey, this reminds me of a Taylor Swift bridge. Cheerleaders, the next track, very far away cheerleader sound, very anthemic. This album, that kind of anthemic video game lead lines. Verse, guitar, has like this guitar and chorus, cool whisper. And this is neat idea. Again, this is all about the parasocial relationship. It's about some, I assume, young girl, teenage girl who's like obsessed with him, and she's got hearts in her eyes and draws me kissing other guys. You know, it's a whole part of stan culture where like young girls fantasize about the men who they think are handsome kissing other men. I don't know. I get it. I'm not gonna say like I've ever like wanted to do that about people, you know, like, you know, when I was younger, I wasn't like, you know, drawing pictures of like, I don't know, Demi Moore kissing women or anything like that. But like, I could have, I guess. How old am I? I just made a Demi Moore reference. Look it up, kids. Yeah, and I really love this idea of just like, that I need her. That like, basically, Porter Robinson's kind of breaking the rules here. When you have a parasocial, when you are the top dog in the parasocial relationship, when you are the person who does not know, right? Like all of life is people you know and people who, and being known, right? That's what I've learned about the minor fame I have with YouTube and earlier with the whole Star Wars thing. It's like, there's people you meet and people who meet you. So, you know, Paul McCartney is a perfect example. Paul McCartney, since like 1963, every single person he has met will tell everyone else for the rest of their life that they met them. That's how much that person is met. I mostly meet people. You know, so when I got to go to the Black Country New Road show and I got to see them afterwards, I was meeting them. But then there was a fair number of people who really like my channel because I do a lot of work on Black Country New Road who were in there, who were meeting me and were kind of freaking out. And anyways, the whole truth is, if you are the one who is met, you're supposed to act like it doesn't really matter and that it's not a big deal and that it's just kind of part of life and all that. But Porter Robinson's kind of just being true and just like, it does matter. Like, you do sort of need it, and it can be sort of an addiction and sort of a bad thing, but also it can just be like a nice thing where it's like, hey, I put myself out there and people care. That's pretty awesome. More Just Dance kind of feel on the song too. Nice cowbell on the second verse. I really enjoy that. You know, I listen to a lot of music with my almost 2-year-old, and I've been teaching her rhythms for like the last year, you know, for a long time. And you know, she counts. She doesn't know how to count 1, 2, 3, 4. She just goes T, T, and you know, so cowbell really helps. The Stamp, then Russian Roulette. Then we get to Perfect Pinterest Garden. I like this song. I think it's necessary because this album sort of breaks apart into like the hook songs and the sort of rock songs. The hooky pop songs and the kind of thoughtful rock songs. So anyways, that's what this is. I know a place, I won't be spotted, a perfect Pinterest garden, I'll get a job, 2 kids, restart it. If you saw me a stranger in the streets, could you tell me you love me? Maybe we should both make real friends. Continuing on this theme of parasocial relationships, like imagining having this whole life with this person at the same time, not having real friends, because that's the problem with parasocial relationships, these are my Patreons, and a lot of them have commented, and like I feel like I know them, but they're not my real friends. I have real friends, but these aren't them. But it's hard not to feel like they're real friends when they've been talking to me and communicating with me for years and sharing thoughts back and forth. And I like the title, because my daughter is super into Pinterest. Not the 2-year-old. I have a teenager too, 16-year-old. And I don't get it. I don't hate Pinterest. I don't understand Pinterest. Year of the cup. Why'd you hit me in the cup? You hit me in the cup. Hey, year of the cup. Buy my merch. Huh? My merch sales are so bad. Is it just that I have bad merch? I'm trying to think. You don't want to... It's okay. I couldn't quite pick out where this quote was, and then I read that it was Lil Wayne, and it all kind of made sense. And this song, I'm going to talk about the song in under 1 minute because I feel like I could talk about the song for an hour. It seems like it's about the idea of what makes an artist great. And whatever that thing is that makes an artist great, that's up to them. And it might make them not a great person. It might make them not make great decisions. But that kind of division between what it takes to be a great artist and what it takes to be a good person aren't always aligned. That's why what's in Lil Wayne's cup is most likely some kind of addictive opiate, and what's in his cup is up to him, and he sort of credits all of his success to his cup. And the song's not really about how important it is to drink cough syrup, which you might think it is. I don't think it is. I think it's more about the importance of an artist to keep that thing within them that makes them make great art, even if that thing can be hurtful to them. A questionable thesis, I'm not sure. I would say with Porter Robinson that cup is like self-doubt and desire to do self-harm. Is there a fiddle on this song? Okay, then we get to Kitsune Miss... Calm down, Skye. They've been watching you for 31 minutes and 52 seconds. They don't need you to say Kitsune Maison freestyle any quicker than you can say it. Kitsune Maison freestyle returns to that video game formula, great hook. I see he's right in there, cool funky drums, simple fuzzy medley. And I think this isn't, okay, I could be wrong, but this feels like this is a play on Junya Watanabe, or Junya, the song by Donda, by Kanye, off of Donda, Junya Watanabe, on my wrist, a high fashion brand with a Japanese name repeated over and over again. This song's interesting because at first I thought, I was like, ew, is this just like imitating rap? Like that thing that sometimes some singers do, and it's a little bit cringy, where it's like, I'm going to be a white guy who like talks about like basically the Royals thing. Royals is Lord's great, but Royals has never really sat well with me because it's a little too much like, yeah, I get it. You're like a waifish pixie dream girl from Australia. Like, you can't relate to the ego trip that's going on in music made by people who felt unseen and in difficult situations. You know what I mean? Like the ego tripping that happens in rap music doesn't happen out of a void. It's not ego tripping in rap music is not by people whose life experience is that of Jake Paul. Right? When Jake Paul does ego tripping, it's like, screw that guy, he had everything given to him and then he took more, right? This is different, but that's not what it is. So don't worry about it. And speaking of acoustic guitar, it feels sort of like, what I love about this is it's really just talking about the confusion that happens. This is wrapped up all in his head. He just doesn't know what to do with fame. He doesn't do with money. He has this whole beautiful line where he talks about how he's doing all this self-improvement. It's a lot about fashion, about how to dress well. Did I go on Kitsune Maison and say, I want to buy some clothes of them? I'm on Instagram. I've done 3 interviews with Bliss Foster that have never made it onto his channel. Maybe it's just not interesting enough. But you know, me and Bliss kind of know each other, and I'll watch Bliss's videos, and I'll get kind of excited. I'll be like, I sort of do need a Michel Margiela mask. I think I sort of do. I think I could pull it off. I wouldn't be a 50-year-old dude, hype beast. I think I could pull it off, you know? So yeah, I went on Maison Catrine, and I was this close to pulling the trigger on a $120 marine shirt with a little fox on there. But I stopped myself. I'm about to have a fourth kid. That's like 2 boxes of diapers. I need diapers a lot more than I need high fashion. But you know, the feeling that you get by being able to buy nice clothes that look good, that have kind of a style, it's great. And he has this beautiful lyric about how he paid to have his teeth done. You know, have his teeth like fixed. And he said he paid all that to have the teeth that his mom gave him taken away. And he can never get them back. It's a beautiful line. It's a beautiful line. I'm trying to look good, trying not to feel bad. That's what fashion is. Damn. Has Bliss talked about this? I need to hit him up. Like, hey, you should do an analysis of the song Maison Catrine. Maybe I'll finally make it on his channel. Easier to Love You, the next song, gentle kind of downbeat. It's not really electronic. It's got these kind of like moans in the back. What I like about this song is it really reminded me strongly of one of my favorite Velvet Underground songs, I'll Be Your Mirror. A song which I literally cannot sing without crying because it's so beautiful. It's about how, like, you know, sometimes like people can't see how beautiful they are, and like you just want them to see, but like they can't see it, so you have to be their mirror, right? But it turns out the song is not about someone else. It's about himself when he was younger. I found a letter, dear future me, I promise I'll take care of the person we'll both be eventually. I'll pick up painting, and I'll join the gym. I can't shake the feeling I'll be happy by the time I'm him. I love this. If you don't know, I think a lot about my younger self, you know? I think a lot about my younger self. I think a lot about this guy right here, okay? Now, not only am I wearing a t-shirt for defunct search engine Lycos, nobody beats the wolf spider. I picked that up at a tech show in Boston that my brother's friend took me. I was probably like in the same room as like Bezos and Zuckerberg, who knows? I actually wrote on the back, I wrote a little description of where I was here. Why are we in Troutsville, Virginia? Why did we pay $42 for one bed in an Econo Lodge? Why am I wearing an ice bucket on my head? Okay, so I was probably 17 or 18 in this photo, you know? And I like this image because, like, I don't know what I would have written to myself. But I don't think I would have known that I would be where I am now. So that goes back to the general theme. Don't kill yourself, you idiot. You know, like, just love yourself. Like, picture yourself in the future. Like, try it right now. I talk a lot about crying today. I can make myself cry by talking to my like 5-year-old self, you know, because my dad used to yell at me a lot. And I would like run upstairs into my room with the yellow walls and my sticker collection on the door, and I'd slam the door and I'd just sit there and cry, right? That's just what I did. And like I often, you learn this in therapy, like what would I say to myself if I could? I would just go there and say, hey, you didn't do anything wrong. Your dad just does not know how to regulate his emotions. He has bad boundaries, substance abuse issues. And he's in physical pain and doesn't really know how to process that emotionally. He needs to go to therapy. If I could go back in time, you know, I'm not saying that that's like, that would have solved all my problems, but like that helps me to be kind to myself now when I think about how would I have treated myself back then. And then you just realize that the person you are now is somebody in 10 years you would like to talk to. So give yourself that grace. I'll be your mirror, reflect what you are, in case you don't know. Apologies. Apologies to Nico. That was a good Nico impression, though. Next song is a Slick Rick cover, Mona Lisa, featuring Frost Children. I get one joke per video. Insane siren lowering and just... Okay, so, you know, I take notes, right? I take notes in my notes app. That's how I do this channel, okay? And as my eyesight goes, it gets harder and harder. But I wrote 2 separate times, I am so into the vibes of this album. And both times it was on this song. So I don't know what it is, but there's something about the way this album all comes together that this point is like, I don't know, the big action, the big chase scene at the end of an action movie. Like this is like some kind of coalescing thing in this album that works. It's so well made. I wrote it's like Weezer, but cool. And I like Weezer. And then the album ends with, is there really no happiness? And it's this gentle, creamy sound, high vocals. Wait, this is not the last song, is it? No, it's the second last song. And it's a song all about nostalgia. I remember the family PC. Do you remember the family PC? I don't. We didn't have a family PC. I'm too old for that. But I totally understand that other people do have that memory of having a PC that their family all used. Hey, if you're going to write about nostalgia, if you haven't, I'm going to be putting out a video about Frank Ocean's Blonde and Proust. It's dynamite. I've recorded it, but I'm going to be putting it out when my kid's being born, because I'm going to be going to the hospital soon with my wife. Could have been today, could be tomorrow, who knows when. Anyways, like nostalgia and like specific memories are very tricky. So in that video, I just randomly picked Bakugan. You know, you pick a toy, you know, pick a song. You know, oh, remember Call Me Maybe that summer when you were at camp and you were doing a lip sync contest at camp and you picked Call Me Maybe or whatever it is, right? But just the family PC, like that's such a specific moment and that's such like a specific time. And then it gets all poetic. There was snow in the hallways. There's blood in my teeth. And I want it to be wrong, but it's over and done. Is there really no happiness without this feeling? And that's the question about nostalgia, and that's the thing. He says at the end in a pitched up voice, people can die of nostalgia, and it's true. People can die of nostalgia. I am a Star Wars toy collector. I am maybe the world's largest Chewbacca collector. I don't talk about it very much on this channel. That was my main hobby before I picked up this hobby. The actor who played Chewbacca cut my hair. Okay? Peter Mayhew cut my hair. Look it up. And I'm actually having a hard time in that hobby because I don't care about my childhood. I mean, my childhood was fine, but like I'm interested in it as like a collector. It's a fascinating thing. It's fascinating all the different countries and forms that this weird little walking ape thing can be made and thought into. And I love the movies and I love the lore and all that stuff. But a lot of my friends who collect because they want to remember how they felt when they were 10 years old and it was 1983 and they were seeing Return of the Jedi in the movie theater and their mom took them to KB Toy Store after the game, whatever, after the show, right? And I get that. But it's like, nostalgia is very dangerous. Nostalgia is a very dangerous thing. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's always a lie because it's selective. And it's also dangerous because that's how societies die, okay? Nostalgia is a crucial element of fascism because it is an idealized vision of the past. It is a simplified vision of the past. And when politicians use nostalgia to evoke the past, it is always used to talk about the complexity of the now. And the complexity of the now is inevitably progress, is inevitably equality for more people or the presence of more people. So nostalgia in the 40s was a time before the Italians were there. And nostalgia in the 80s was before, schools were integrated. And nostalgia now is remembering in the 80s when everyone was remembering what it was like before schools were integrated. Anyways, so yeah, not only do people die of nostalgia, so do democracies. So that's how democracies die. Grand applause and nostalgia. Everything to me, not really a pop song again, more just guitars and drums. It's sort of like an upbeat version of No Surprises by Radiohead. Another OK Computer reference. Damn. And I made an OK Computer reference in my Frank Ocean video. There you go. It's you and me and the air between. This is this great parasocial thing that this is like, again, he's talking about his fans in a very real way. If this is goodbye, if I won't see you again, waiting on a corner with your phone in hand, if irony is a virtue, maybe I should be king. Crush me like a plushie, I'll be one of your things. Between like that and the cover image, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this stuff is sort of furry adjacent, but I don't know. I'm too old to like understand the furry thing. Like, I mean, I understand it like I saw a documentary about it once, but I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it. Maybe I'm addicted to the look in your eyes. It's hard to say you've had enough when you got this high. And that's what I think this is. It's about the high of the addiction of seeing people seeing him being excited. And it is an addictive thing. I'll tell you, if you ever meet me in person and you say, oh, wow, I really want to meet you, it's a high. It is. It's like, oh, I am about to be met, you know? I shouldn't say I love you. I don't know your name, but I'll just say it anyway because it feels the same. And that's the sort of end. It's this weird, like the love that he feels for his fans and his appreciation. So there you go. There's my review of this album. I really like the drums, the way it kind of trails out here. And it's time to thank my Patreons. You know? I don't love you. You know, I don't love you if you're watching this, if you leave comments. Because, you know, love is a very real thing and it shouldn't be debased. But also, it's not true to say that you're meaningless to me. Like, you are meaningful to me. People who watch my videos and comment and you know, support me, it's meaningful. That's the thing. So, a couple of Patreons asked for a shout out on this video in particular. Harrison, I want to say Dykoff. Dominic, I want to say Rufino. Peto, and Zach. Peto, P-E-Y-T-O. I'm going to say Peto. Cool name. All right. Until next time, you want to see young Skye again, don't you? At the Condo Lodge in Troutsville, Virginia. And the funny thing is, I don't remember when I took this photo, so I don't know why I was in Troutsville, Virginia. As far as I know, I've never even been to Virginia. So, who was I with in a Condo Lodge in one bed? There's the camera.